Hey, what's up, guys? This is David Chase Taylor of 911truther.org. Today is March 25th of 2026. So, based on breaking news and events, it appears the CIA headquarters located beneath CERN at Lake Geneva in Switzerland is going to greenlight a full-scale Chinese, Iranian, and/or Russian naval attack, bombing, and/or invasion targeting multiple locations around the Earth on the date of Thursday, March 26th of 2026. So before I get into the possible scenarios, which are blinking red, I just want to highlight the numerology and how we got here to this particular point. Firstly, the date of March 26th features the number 26, which translates to the letter Z in the English alphabet, which is an acronym for Zionism. And that is in fact the political motivation behind this impending attack. It's imperative to note that Switzerland, the first Jewish state, is home to Zionism, and that is why the first ever Zionist Congress was held in Basel, Switzerland, back on, I believe, August 29th through 31st of 1876, or 1897, excuse me, somewhere around there. Just Google it. And this notion is reflected in this particular numerology. So if we have the first Jewish state founded circa August 1st, 1309, and then we have the second Jewish state, which is called Jewish Autonomous Oblast, which is located in the far east of Russia, which was founded on May 7th of 1934, and then we have the third Jewish state called the State of Israel that was founded May 14th of 1948. So it would stand to reason that the impending attack of World War III that is going to commence on the day of Zionism, which I'm calling World War Z, for the date of March 26, would in fact have the numeric signature of the CIA, the Jewish CIA in Geneva, Switzerland, that is going to orchestrate this impending attack. So basically the way that the CIA works, because the CIA is playing each country against one another. So the CIA sits in neutral Switzerland, and then they play all the countries of the world off against each other. And so if they're going to frame China, Iran, and Russia for an unprecedented attack to trigger World War III, they're going to make sure that people believe this narrative, and they will do so by organizing various events where they are basically appear to be in collusion with one another. So the date of March 26 marks exactly 69 days since the CIA staged Operation Will for Peace off the coast of the Republic of South Africa with the Chinese, Iranian, and Russian Navy back on January 9th through the 16th of 2026. And of course, the 69 numerology is no mistake, because that is featured in the nuclear attacks of Hiroshima and Nagasaki on August 6th and August 9th of 1945, because this impending attack is designed to trigger nuclear war, and likely featuring the mutually assured destruction scenario. Also, the date of March 26 marks exactly 1,524 days since the CIA staged Operation Chiru 22 in the Indian Ocean with the Chinese, Iranian, and Russian Navy back on January 22nd of 2022. And of course, the number 1524 features the 24 numerology, which equates to the letter X in the English alphabet, which is obviously the international symbol of death, because this impending attack, this impending false flag Chinese, Iranian, and Russian attack on March 26 is going to be the death of humanity as we know it. Also, the date of March 26 marks 2,277 days since the CIA staged a joint naval exercise between the Chinese, Iranian, and Russian Navy in the Indian Ocean back on December 31st of 2019. This, of course, features the 27 numerology, or 77 numerology, both in this particular number, which is an esoteric kill number as evidenced by the 27 Club, Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison, Jimi Hendrix, Kurt Cobain, etc., were all murdered on the 27 numerology, because these are blood sacrifices being offered to this number. Also, the London bombings were executed on July 7th or 7/7. And so this is an esoteric kill number, which suggests that the CI will in fact stage a joint Chinese, Iranian, and Russian naval attack on this particular date. Also, in order to photograph the leaders of these countries and to make it appear as if they are colluding and plotting behind the scenes for this impending attack, the CI staged a meeting between Chinese President Xi Jinping, Russian President Vladimir Putin, and then Iranian President Hassan Rouhani on the sidelines of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit in Beijing, China, or Shanghai, China, back on June 14th of 2019. And June 14th is no mistake. This is Donald J. Trump's birthday, and so this impending attack will likely result in the death of Donald J. Trump, which I'm going to get into later. So the notion that the CI would, in fact, and of course, the date of March 26 marks exactly 2,477 days since this Shanghai Cooperation Summit commenced in Shanghai, China. And of course, we have the number 24, which equates to the letter X, the international symbol of death, and then again we have the 77, esoteric 77 numerology. And we also have the 47 numerology, which is reflected in the 47th President of the United States, which I'm going to get into in a second. So the notion that the CI would stage World War III on the date of the Z date of 26 is corroborated by the fact that the global biological pandemic film entitled World War Z, starring Brad Pitt, premiered on 6/2/13, June 2nd, 2013. The 6/2 or 26 equates to the letter Z, which is an acronym for Zionism. This is called reflective numerology. And so also the president of China, his name is Xi, or Z, Xi Jinping. And so this has the features the Z numerology phonetically speaking. And then we also had the letter Z was placed prominently on Russian military uniforms, military trucks, military athletes during the invasion of Ukraine back on February 24th of 2022. They all wore the Z symbol. So the Z is for Zionism, symbolically. That's what the acronym is for. It's for Zionism. And because the CIA is Zionist in nature, it is Jewish in nature. So what they're going to do is they're going to take a lot of time and energy to frame these countries for an attack on World War Z, March 26th, because this is a blood sacrifice to them. They are destroying their enemies, and so this is why they have spent so much time and energy doing this. So although there is a possibility that the CI would stage a real-world, although that the CI would stage a real-world Chinese, Iranian, or Russian naval attack coordinated around the world on the date of March 26, it's virtually 99.999% sure that this impending attack is going to be orchestrated and executed by the massive shadow fleet of the Israeli Navy that is yet to be discussed publicly in the public sphere. So unbeknownst to humanity, the CIA has developed what's called a shadow fleet of basically decommissioned ships from the United States Navy, the Royal Navy, including aircraft carriers and submarines, tankers, destroyers, frigates, everything. And they have also combined with the decommissioned, so they basically take decommissioned ships and then they upgrade them, soup them up, and then they take state-of-the-art prototypes developed by Raytheon, McDonnell Douglas, Boeing, all these different military contractors. And so they have an advantage over all the other militaries of the world. Not only that, they have complete radar and satellite immunity. Basically, they have full spectrum dominance over the the digital sphere because of the CIA in Switzerland. So this is the CIA is coordinating this attack. So if a naval fleet needs to remain undetected, they can alter the satellite footage or the radar footage to make them appear invisible. So exactly how this is going to play out on the date of March 26th is obviously not known, but I suspect that multiple ships and submarines of the Shadow Navy of Israel will launch a unprecedented naval offensive, likely using German-made Dolphin-class submarines of the Israeli Navy to attack multiple nations around the world in a coordinated effort. So we're going to see how many submarines they basically have, but I suspect that there will be a massive naval bombardment, if you will, targeting in the Asian Pacific theater, Japan, South Korea, Philippines, Singapore, Australia, and or New Zealand. In the Americas, the United States, Canada, possibly Cuba, Venezuela, Argentina, and or Brazil. In Europe, most likely England, France, Germany, Italy, Spain, or Portugal. And then in the Middle East theater of war, most likely Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Israel, Kuwait, UAE, Yemen, Jordan, Libya, and or Syria or Turkey. So exactly how this is going to play out is obviously not known, but I suspect we're going to have some sort of a major cyber attack which will start it off. So this will be the reason why these ships and submarines will go undetected. So they're likely going to turn off the internet in multiple countries. They're likely going to turn off weather satellites, NATO, NASA satellites, etc., under the guise of a foreign cyber attack, which will likely be blamed onto Russia or China. Then we're going to see an escalating wave of 9/11 style kamikaze suicide drone bombing attacks, ballistic missile strikes, cruise missile strikes, drone strikes, mining attacks like with naval mines, rocket attacks, torpedo strikes, and underwater drone strikes, possibly even featuring alleged suicide, submarine suicide bombings, electromagnetic pulse events, and ship sinkings. So this is going to be like a Pearl Harbor times 100, but it's going to be global. And if you recall, back in 1967, on June 8th, the CIA staged the Israeli Air Force and Israeli naval attack targeting the USS Liberty, which was a spy ship of the United States Navy, which was sailing off the coast of the Sinai Peninsula in Egypt in the Mediterranean Sea. And so they're basically going to take this type of attack times 100 and do it globally. And it's likely going to feature the mass distribution of blood agents, choking agents, nerve agents, or blister agents. These are chemical warfare. I would suspect that United States naval bases in Japan, South Korea, the Philippines, Singapore will likely be targeted. Major cities in the United States, such as Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles, San Diego on the West Coast, New York, Boston, Miami on the East Coast would likely be targeted. London, Paris, Berlin, Rome, Barcelona, Lisbon, Madrid in Europe, and then of course in the Middle East theater of war, where we have the ongoing Iran war. I suspect that almost virtually all of the military bases in that region that are being organized and run by the United States Armed Forces are going to be targeted. So this impending attack obviously is designed to spawn a second global biological pandemic and trigger World War III, and therefore what we can expect is that it's going to be chemical, biological, radiological, or nuclear in nature. That's what we know for a fact, and that it's going to kill hundreds, if not thousands, of U.S. servicemen and women, because the goal here is to bait the entire world into full-scale World War III, which benefits who? Israel and the state of Switzerland, which are organizing this entire coup on their numerology, their Zionist numerology of March 26. So obviously if that happens, I would kindly ask that you download this video and share it with local, state, and federal law enforcement, military, and intelligence officials, as well as with local, national, and international media outlets.